Venmo grew at 80% year over year in terms of its volume processed. This year, we think we'll process over $100 billion on the Venmo platform. But the real secret to Venmo is that it's not just a payment transaction. It really is tying into this desire in the millennial generation to tie into your social network. So it's really a social experience. Like you do a payment, you tag it, you put an emoji next to it, you share it with your friends, they see what you're doing, and it's exploded, and we're adding more and more services to that, like enabling you to use Venmo to buy now things at merchants, to take money off instantaneously, to have a debit card associated with your Venmo account. And that's allowing us to also monetize Venmo, and we're really seeing a tremendous turn in our ability to take that business model and turn it into a very profitable one for us over the medium to long term.
And that question of monetization, of course, was up on the earnings call significantly. I think on the call you guys said that it won't be profitable in the next 2 quarters, but haven't been given a target of exactly when internally you're hoping it will be profitable. Any update on that? Yeah, what we said on the call is that we are exited last year at a approximately $200 million run rate for Venmo. That's practically up from nothing, 12 months ago. So it's obviously, hitting an inflection point in terms of its revenues. But in terms of profitability, what we said on the call is that, people shouldn't expect it to be profitable in the next, 1 to 2 quarters. But my view on Venmo is it's an incredibly precious asset for us. And we ought to keep investing in it, adding more services to it, continuing to monetize it, see the revenue start to scale quite nicely, and eventually that will lead to profitability. But I wouldn't predict exactly what quarter will turn profitable on that. You mentioned the partnerships you have with the big banks. At the same time, they collectively have partnered to create Zelle. Yeah. And that's growing very fast, processed slightly more than PayPal last year collectively. Is that going to be a winner-takes-all space, do you think? And is it sort of unfair that they partnered together in that way?
No, I don't think it's unfair at all. I think the way of the world, as I mentioned, are companies coming together, sharing platforms. We share our platform with other banks and financial institutions as well. But P2P or peer-to-peer payments is exploding in the market. It's a multi-$100 billion marketplace. This will definitely not be a winner take all. And the difference between like a Venmo and a Zelle is pretty stark. On average, a Zelle transaction is $250. The average Venmo transaction is about $50. The average Zelle transaction happens about once a month. Venmo happens 4 or 5 times a week. So it's a very different market, and I think both will grow, and we're seeing all-time record net new actives coming into Venmo, processing the amount we're processing accelerating. So I think the two will live side by side, and it won't be a winner take all.
The company's doing so well in the US and Europe, and PayPal is a very well-known brand in those areas. What about Asia? Have you been disappointed on the pace of traction there over the last sort of few years? Or
Asia is one of our fastest growing regions in the world. It has been for quite some time. So I think that's the thing about digital payments. It's a great industry. It could be, a $100 trillion market, $100 trillion market. That's sort of the market, total addressable market we're playing into. We may have like 1 to 2% share of that market today. And so every region of the world to me is one that we can expand in. But every region of the world today, almost equally, is growing at double-digit pace for us. And so I'm quite pleased with our progress in Asia, but I think we can do so much more there still.
And is India the sort of biggest opportunity for you?
India is one very large opportunity. We're gaining traction there. I'm very pleased. We launched domestically in India about a year ago. I'm really pleased with the traction we're getting, but You look at Japan, Indonesia, China, I mean, they're all great opportunities for us, including other markets there.